Hello. So what I'm going to talk about today is surfaces. And surfaces are a non-existent entity in the sense that they're zero thickness. Surfaces are really useful in Solidworks because Solidworks, when it's calculating particularly quite organic shapes, it doesn't have to worry about thickness, and that makes the calculations, as you can imagine, way simpler. So what we do is we can use surfaces, and I'm going to demonstrate in a minute. We can use surfaces to make organic shapes with this zero thickness. And then when we're completed, we can then give the object thickness. We can give it that third dimension. And we find that works very well inside of SolidWorks. The other thing that you can do, and I'm not going to demonstrate this, but you can play with this, you can use surfaces as cutting tools. And of course, the beauty is because they're zero thickness, there's no wasted material. So that's something that you can play with, which might be very useful in your future. So what SolidWorks has, it has a whole host of tutorials. If you click the question mark up in the top right corner there, it drops down this help menu, and one of the ones there is tutorials. Look, and the beauty here is that there's tutorials on almost all that you would need. You can see that it's broken down into getting started, basic techniques, etc. But I just usually click on all SolidWorks tutorials, and then what it gives you, and I'm just going to make it a little bit narrower. What it gives you is all the tutorials that are there, and when you hover over them, it gives you a little picture, a little idea of what it's talking about. The one I'm interested in today is surfaces, and we're going to make this sort of nozzle thing. So you've got this video when I finished it, and what you'll have as well is you can go and follow along with these tutorials yourself later on. So what they've already done, you can see it here on the left. They've created a sketch, or a whole series of sketches actually, for us to use when we're creating this nozzle. And what we've got here, you can see the sort of things that that we're going to use as we go along. So I'll try and go at a nice steady pace, but again, you can always come back to this and go through it yourself. Okay. The beauty with the SolidWorks tutorials is that they'll lead you through all sorts of different techniques, and they're very useful. If I've got any complaint about them at all, and it's a small one, I guess, is that they tell you what to do, but not always why you're doing it or why you wouldn't do something else. And I'll try and talk about that as we go. So I'm going to click on this at the bottom there. Okay, and it says click here to open nozzle.sldprt, solid part. So I'm going to click there. I'm not sure what it's telling me there. And it brings in this guy. Now, this is really important, although it's not so important now we're not in the lab. What I want to do now is to save it as my own. So I'm going to do File, Save As, and I'll just do it, let's find somewhere. I'm just going to save it there. The reason that we would want to do that right now is because if we were in the lab using a lab machine, then what we would be doing is overwriting the sketches in SolidWorks. So what would happen is the next person on the machine that comes and tries to use it would find that it's already been completed by you, which of course is what we don't want. One of the things I really like about the tutorials is that if it asks you to use a tool, you can actually click on the tool and it'll load it for you if it's not already loaded. So I'm just going to click on it. It's on the Surfaces toolbar, which I have loaded, but just to demonstrate, I'm going to click on that guy. and it opens the surfaces toolbar, as you can see, and it goes, here I am, here I am. So I'm going to hit on Lofted Surface, as it says, like that, and then it's just following along. Select Sketch 2 and Sketch 3 for profiles. So I've got Sketch 2, this is going to be a loft, albeit a surface loft. Sketch 2 and Sketch 3. Go on, baby, there we go. So now we're going to do something a little differently. It's because what we've got now is just a straight truncated cone. But if you look at the object, what we actually have is a little bit of a skirt there. So we'll start to look at start end constraints. So in the property manager, I'm going to drop that down. And in start end constraints, currently it's none. And we want normal to profile. Okay, in both of those, normal to profile, and then it's telling us to set the tangent length to 0.5. 0.5, and you can see on the screen what it does. It just makes that little bit of difference. Then I'm going to say OK. All right, so if I go now and just look at a front view and zoom in, can you just see the difference that that's made? Look, just here and here. All right, so that's what that tangent, normal to profile, and tangent length gives us. Just that little bit of difference. All right, so I say OK, and I'm so far so good. And what these tutorials do is they take you through step by step. So now what it's saying is click swept surface. So I'm going to click that guy. And then it's saying select sketch 6 for the profile. So there's the profile, sketch 6. And then click sketch 4 for the path. 4 for the path. And what that's done, look, is it just gives me a straight sweep. So now what I'm going to do is under guide curves, select sketch 5. There's sketch 5, and what you can see there is it's done the it's now made the sort of hand grip there by following that guide curve. So what it's saying there is select merge smooth faces, absolutely. Under options, make sure it says clear merge tangent faces. It is already cleared, so I'm okay. So I can say yes, please. So now you can see I've got two surface objects there. So moving on. So click swept surface again. This time I'm going to select sketch 9 for the profile, sketch 7 for the path. And there you can see that guy. And now what I'm going to do is under guide curves, because that's just given me this sort of tube. Under guide curves, I'm going to select this guy here, which is sketch 8 for the guide curve. And you can see it's pulled it that way. Select smooth faces, and I've done that, and I say OK. There's my third object. OK. All right, so now we're going to look at something different, and what I'm interested in now is a split line. So I'm just going to click that guy, and I can click split line like that. Now what I want to do is I want to split this part of the nozzle into different zones, because right now it's all one surface, and I actually want to split it into 4 surfaces, and you'll see why in a minute. So under type of split, projection, and that's what it's got. Under selections, sketch 10, that's that guy. This is that big rectangle. Okay. and select the face of the nozzle for faces to split. So I'm going to click that guy there and I'm going to say OK. And what I've got now, if you look at this, I've broken this guy, look, into these different surfaces. That's what a split line does for me. Okay, that's what a split line does for me. Okay, I'm going to save while I think about it. There we are. All right. So now I'm going to do the same sort of idea on the base. I'm going to hit split line. I want a projected split line again. So I want sketch 11 for the sketch to project. And then I want to give it the skirt for the thing I want to split. And I say OK. And you can see I've done exactly the same now to that. OK. All right. All right, now I'm going to hit Lofted Surface. So I want to go back to Surfaces, Lofted Surface. And what I'm interested in now is this guy here. Let's just zoom in a bit, get this just the way I want it. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is select the top segment of the exit nozzle. So I'm going to select this guy. And I'm going to select that guy, not that, just you. All right, let's make sure. So that's a bit hokey. So I've got to move this guy across to the other side. And the reason it didn't give me a preview before is because, of course, what was happening is it would have done a full twist, which you can see here. So under the Start End Constraints, there we go, click the drop down. Again, we're going to say tangency to face for both of them. Tangency to face, you see what it's done there? And the same with the end constraints, tangency to face. So it's given us that nice smooth transition there. Under options, merge tangent faces is checked, it is, and I say OK. All right, so far so good. So now what I want to do is I want to do the same in here. Okay, so what I want to do is hit Lofted Surface again. And now I want to select this guy and this guy. Oh, already have that surface body. So I want to get that out of there. And you can see, of course, Sod's Law says it's twisted. And I don't want that. Let me just cross out of that, try it again. This time we're feeling. Okay. So I don't want you. I want you. And I want you. There we go. So you've got to be careful where you choose these elements. So I'm going to go to Start End Constraints. And we do something really interesting here. So I'm going to do tangency. And I'm going to do tangency. All right, so far so good. Now look what happens when I increase this. Can you see what it's doing? Slowly but surely, I'm getting a different shape. So start constraint, the start length, I want to be 3. And the end, I want to be 7. Like that. So I'm able to really manipulate this. I want to make sure that I'm merging tangent faces. There I am. So I can say OK. Do you see the way I can manipulate the way that this shapes itself and the way it moves from one object to the next? All right, I'm going to hit save again. Let's go out to see what we're at. And at all points, guys, this should this should look obviously exactly the same as the pictures. All right, so now I'm going to do the same to the front, just under the throat here if you like. So I'm going to hit Lofted Surface, and I don't want that. I don't know why it keeps selecting that. What I want now is this guy and this guy. Okay, it's not happy with that. There we go. So again, I'm going to do the start end constraints, and I'm going to just do tangency and tangency. And then what you've got is a nice smooth transition, I'm sorry, from one object to the other. And I'm just going to say OK. And there I have it. So far, so good. Okay, this is my nozzle. I'm going to save it again. It's reminding me to do that. And what I've got now is, if you look in here, surface bodies, I've got 6 surface bodies, and you can just click on them and see what they are and so on and so forth. All right. I don't want 6 or a whole number of them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to knit them together. So we're looking at knit surface. So I'm going to hit knit surface, expand surface bodies, which I already did to have a look. Okay. Select the surface bodies in the folder and say OK. So I'm going to say all of these guys. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to knit them all together. I'm going to say OK. And now what I've got one body look called surface knit 1. Okay, it doesn't change the appearance, but now I've just got one body, and if I click on it, it's the whole thing. So I've knit all those various different parts all together. So now I'm going to fill in the gaps here. So I'm going to click back, the back view. Oh, that's not it. You know what? I'm just going to turn the world. There we go. There we go. All right. So what am I going to do now? So I'm going to click Filled Surface. There it is on my Surfaces toolbar. Then I'm going to right-click, select an edge, right-click, and I'm going to say Select Open Loop. And what that does is it goes round, as you can see, and it selects all the edges that are attached to it. And then under Edge Settings, I'm going to select Tangent in Curvature Control. There it is, Tangent. Okay. And I'm going to select Apply to All Edges. That's that guy. So it'll make all of these edges tangential. Okay. Under Curvature Display, it wants us to clear Mesh Preview, which we've cleared. Click Constraint Curves. Click in there. And then select Pull Point 1. Pull Point 1. There it is. And that's one of these little guys here. Under Options, select Fix Up Boundary. That's that. And then say OK. And what that's done now is you can see now the pull point, you can see pull point 2 over here. What it's done is it's made that surface go through that point. Okay. And now we're going to do the same on the other side. Yeah, so I'm just going to go through that filled surface I'm going to go and right click this guy, select open loop. So that collects all of those different elements. Here I want to select tangent, fix up boundary, apply to all edges. A lot of this stays there. Click that guy, pull point 2, merge result, yes. And I click OK. I think I'm good. There we go. So now I've got this, as you can see, it's all there. So I'm going to save. There we go. So now we're going to do a planar surface. So what I'm going to do now is hit planar surface. I'm going to hit the edge of this guy. Okay, I'm going to say OK. So I just put a surface there. It was hollow before and I've just put a surface on it there. I'm going to do the same at the bottom of the handle here. Planar surface. I need to right click here. Oh, right click, select open loop again so that it gathers up all the parts. And you see it's put a preview in there and I say OK. So that's now sealed off as well. We're all good. Knit the surface. So we're going to do the knit again. So now we do that. And we're going to click all of these guys. I'm going to say, I think we're all okay there. Say OK. And now we should have surface knit 2. There it is. So again, we've knitted all of these extra pieces together again. And I'm going to save it. Now we're going to do a revolve surface. And what they typically do is they ask us to do things a different way round. So we're going to select sketch 13. I'm going to say revolve surface. And there it is. It's 360, it's blind, etc., etc. Everything's good. So I'm going to say OK. OK. Now what I'm going to do is to do move copy bodies. You can see this is quite extensive, move copy bodies. So I'm going to click here. I can't immediately see it. Mesh modeling, move copy bodies. You can see how useful that is. I'm just going to click that guy. Expand surface bodies. Okay, yeah. Select surface revolve. So that's the bit that we just put in. Okay. Clear copy. So where is that? I don't see that. But what I want to do is translate, rotate. I've cleared copy. There is no copy there. And what it's saying is translate the Y there, minus 6.35. And it's important it's minus because we're going to move it down. Minus 6.35. Yep. And I'm going to say OK. And watch it, it'll just move down. There you go. And rebuilds itself. OK. So now we're going to trim surfaces. So the only reason we put that in the wrong place, if you like, is so that we can demonstrate these different elements. Now I'm going to trim the surfaces. So I'm going to hit trim surface, which is here somewhere. There it is, trim surface. Trim type, we want to say mutual. So we're going to use these things to trim each other. Okay, mutual. So we're going to select surface knit 2. Surface knit 2. There we go. That should be good. Select Remove Selections. Click Pieces to Remove and give it that guy, that guy. I think we're good. Keep your fingers crossed and say yes, please. There we go. And you can see that it's trimmed off those two pieces for us. And I'm going to save. Extruded surface, creating a trim tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to select Sketch 14. So we're going to change the visibility. There we are. So that's what we've got there. Hidden lines visible. I think that's what I chose. Yep. So we're all good. All right. What am I going to do now? Select Sketch 14. That's that guy. And I'm going to click Extruded Surface. That's that guy. Direction 1, I'm going to select Midplane because I want it to extrude both ways. And then I want to set depth to 140. And you can see that's what it does. And I say OK. And I've created a new piece there, and I'm going to use that as my cutting tool in a minute. So I'm going to move Copy Bodies, go back to Shaded. There we go. You can see the new piece there. So I'm going to click on Move Copy Bodies. All right. I'm going to expand Surface Bodies. There it is. I'm going to click on Surface Trim Extrude. Okay. I'm going to select Copy this time because I want to copy this extrude that we've just done at 90 degrees in a minute. Okay. So I'm going to set number of copies 1. That's good. Expand Surface Revolve 1. Surface Revolve 1. Where are you? There it is. Down at the bottom. Right click Sketch 13 and Show. That's that guy. So what we're going to do is to use that under Rotate. Translate Rotate. Rotate. What I want to do is select line 1, which is this guy. And then I want 90 degrees. Okay. And then I've got copy, 1 copy, and I should say OK. And there I have it. So now you can see that I've got 2 of these guys. I'm going to save again. Then I'm going to use, so what I'm going to do now is trim surface. Trim surface. There you are. And now what I'm going to do is trim type standard. So I'm just going to use these guys now as a cutting tool. Now for some reason, okay, and the thing that I want to choose as the trim tool is the one that we just created when we rotated. Select Keep Selections. Okay, Keep Selections. And the pieces to keep is going to be this guy. All right, that's the bit I'm interested in keeping. If I turn the world a little bit, you can see these little guys in here. These are the bits that are going to be taken. And I'm going to say OK. Now you should be able to see straight through there. All right, so they're the bits that we've just eliminated. Okay, so under surface bodies, body move to, hide. So I'm hiding that guy. So that was the trim tool that I've just used, and I'm going to save. Now I'm going to go here and basically do the same and using the other tool. So I'm going to trim surface, standard. I'm going to delete that out of there just to make sure I get the right thing. Keep selections, this guy, and say OK. Now what I'm going to do is go to this guy, and I want to say hide. So it's gone. And now I'll go back and I'll hide that sketch as well, the one that was under the surface revolve. Don't need to see that anymore. There we go. And now you can see what we've got. Look, I've got 4 little cutouts that I use those tools for. Okay. Awesome. So far so good. Again, it never hurts to save very often. So let's see what we're going to do now. Click delete keep body. That's that guy. Under type, select delete bodies, and then we're going to just expand this guy, and then it's expand surface bodies. That's that guy. All right. So then what we're going to do is select surface extrude 1. That's that guy. And body copy 2. That's that guy. Yeah. And then say OK. So we're getting those out of there. So now they're not just hidden, they're gone. Now, as it turns out, we only wanted 3 slots, but we've got 4. So what we're going to do is untrim a surface. Untrim a surface. And the one that we want to get rid of is this guy here. And you can see it knows exactly where it is. Extend edges, yeah, merge with original. Absolutely, say OK. All right, save again. I've had many years of experience where things go wrong at exactly the worst time. So this is where I save very, very often. Now we're done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make this a solid. Well, make it have thickness. So I'm going to hit thicken. And what it does is it gives us this dialog box, this property manager, should I say. So thicken parameter, select surface untrim 1, it already did, for surface to thicken. Thicken side 1, which is that guy, thicken side 1, and set it to, not 10 millimeters, 0.5, very much thinner. OK, 0.5, and then click OK. And now what I've got there, take a second or two because it's quite a complex shape. And what I've got there, look, now, is I've got this where it's 0.5 millimeter thick. Last thing to do, go back to there, save that. OK, I hope that's good.